When we use the word forgivable or forgiveness, that's for Chris Rock to deal with. It's his call. He could have had the man arrested that night and insisted to the LAPD that that not be the case. Could have pressed charges thereafter and insisted on not doing that to Will Smith, not making the incident any bigger than what it was. Yes, he came out with his own flick for next fix, got about $20 million for it. After tax, he probably walked home with about $6 million. But Chris Rock is damaged. In the day and age of mental illness or traumatic incidences that affects one's mind and psyche and what have you, yeah, you might see him at Knicks games. Yeah, you might see him still going about the business of performing on tour or doing his job or handling his business. Chris Rock will never get over that. Ever. Will Smith apologized. I'm not saying he even has to apologize. I'm saying that while I watch him and Martin Lawrence promoting this movie, and I'm quite sure the reason he hasn't addressed it is because the studios don't want him to, and there's an obligation that you have with them, all fair, I get it. But somewhere along the way, he has to sit down and talk to the black community. You can see all the white people around Will Smith all you want to. Black folks have loved and revered this man for decades. He was the closest thing to perfection, as his friend Charlie Mack once told me, for decades. Everybody makes a mistake. This is not hatred. I love Will Smith still. But you got to have a conversation as to why you did that. And when you're apologizing, and when you're getting emotional, and when you're thinking about all the lives or the people that you've affected, it's primarily us as black people who have loved and supported you and watched you go on an international stage and slap one of us in the face and tarnished an historic event for one of the great black producers of modern times in Will Packer, possibly costing yourself and Antoine Fuqua an Oscar for emancipation along the way. I'm not going to say what you did to the comedic community. Hell, Jim Carrey spoke about that along with various others. We know you wouldn't have smacked Ricky Gervais, Bill Maher, Bill Burr, or a host of others. We know you wouldn't have done that. No apology necessary. I'm just saying, a lot of folks ain't get over that. A lot of folks find it hard to just go to the movies to watch you. I'm one of those people. And I never missed a Will Smith movie. Hitch, Concussion, all the Bad Boys movie, from the first one to Y'all with Gabrielle Union, who, by the way, should have been in 3 and 4, by the way. Along with a host of other things. I Am Legend, Independence Day, Men in Black, 1, 2, and 3. Will Smith, you're phenomenal. Phenomenal talent, phenomenal actor, phenomenal individual. You lost your way one night. We need to hear that from you. I'm sorry. That's what I need to do before I look forward to seeing your movies again, more than seeing a sit down. When we use the word forgivable or forgive,
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about addressing the video that Stephen A. Smith has made, talking about Will Smith's slap that he did upon Chris Rock. Okay, he says he is still upset over it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this happened 2 years ago. Okay, but he's saying that he is still upset about it and he just can't go and watch Bad Boys 4. Okay, because he said, I have watched every Will Smith movie faithfully, and I just cannot bring myself to go and watch Bad Boys 4, look at this amazing actor up there, and I still feel like you betrayed me, you hurt me, you know. And that's one of the big things up in here. He was also mentioning in his video how he was saying like, oh, well, Chris Rock is still damaged by this and his mental health is shot. And I don't know, I'm kind of just like, is he though? You know, because it's just like, I get it. Yes, it was a slap that was heard across the world. It was an international show that, you know, award show ceremony that they were attending. And yeah, I get it. You know, it's embarrassing. But I wouldn't say that he's still damaged. Now, of course, we don't know because we're not Chris Rock. But I don't think he's damaged like that. Okay, he's saying his mental health is shot. And I'm like, is it though? You know, because didn't Chris Rock also wait like a year or something to then do a show and be like, okay, this is what it is, you know, and then, you know, to boost the numbers? I don't think that's necessary. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say like you're so mentally shot that you can't go on with your life and you can never get over it. Because that's what he was saying in the video. Oh, well, he'll never get over it. Oh, the black people, black Americans, we are still hurt by this overall. And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know. For me, no one was canceling Will Smith. Also, for me, I'm just like, okay, that happened. And, you know what I mean? It wasn't something where I was like, oh my goodness, it happened. This is so insane. I don't know if I can ever look at Will Smith the same again. It was like, it happened. That sucks. You know, you should have held it together. And you shouldn't have, obviously, hit the person, slapped him on national television too. But I don't know if I would say that I was hurt. I was crying in the corner because of it. I was just like, okay. I mean, this is rich people's problem. I mean, this ain't got nothing to do with me. You know, and then he was talking about tarnishing the legacy because, you know, he was doing it for that movie that was essentially, you know, biopic of Venus and Serena. Okay. So we're talking about that. And they was talking about emancipation and all this. And I was just like, yeah. Now, what I will say, I do agree. Because yes, by you doing that movie, what was it, King Richard or something? That movie did not get the credit because you did what you did. Okay, so I do agree with that. But overall, to say like, oh, it has left a stamp and a mark on the black community, I wouldn't agree with that. I was just like, okay. They mentioned like, oh, well, he wouldn't do it to a white person. Apparently some other comedians said that. Now, the reason why I feel he did what he did in the way that he did it, okay, is because when you found out later, months later, a year later, whatever, you found out that Chris Rock was used to hit on Jada while those two were still married, Chris and Will. And you see that he was over here hitting on her, you know, whatever, like, you know, yeah, F Will when I get with me. I would be mad too. Now, I wouldn't be getting up and slapping nobody. I also would not do it so foolishly on national television, international television. Okay. I would not do all of that. But still, I mean, they had history. You know, that's what you later found out, was this was not just like, oh, well, you know, Will's just being petty or whatever. It's like, no, they actually had history because, you know, things happen in their personal life that caused this thing to happen, you know. So for me, I was just kind of like, okay, I get it. You know, not that you should be hitting anybody, but I get why he was even more upset, why he was even more angry about it. But he's saying that, you know, Stephen A. Smith is over here saying that the black community's out here crying and sobbing and we just can't look. But I could have sworn Bad Boys 4, their budget was $100 million, and in their box office weekend, I could have sworn they made like $104 million. So I'm sure people came out. That means they made their money, or a good chunk of their money, because, you know, advertisements and marketing is not put in there. But I'm like, okay, it looks like they made a good chunk of their money. So I don't think people are that upset. Okay, I mean, this is starring Will Smith, for crying out loud, and no one's going there to see Martin Lawrence. Let's keep it real, because that third one was not good to me. But let me know what you all think down below.